This is the third and last video talking about probability trees. All right. You should make sure that you have watched the previous two videos where I introduce probability trees. I talk a little bit about how to calculate the probability of a specific event. In this one, I'm going to talk a little bit more about calculating the probability of a specific event, but I'm also going to talk about when you multiply and when you add to check your work. All right? Okay, in the previous video we worked out that the probability of getting, if we have our coin here and we travel along this branch, one of the possible outcomes is to get heads, and we know that that is 0.5 probability or 50% probability, and or to get tails we can say that there's 0.5 chance of getting tails. Okay? And what you need to remember is that every time you have a new throw, this is the first throw here, when you have a second throw, your probability for getting a heads or tails on the second throw remain the same. The coin itself has not changed. The fact that it gave you heads here does not change the probability of it giving you another heads again. Okay? It is still going to be 0.5 and 0.5 for each of these possible outcomes. Okay? And it would still be 0.5 for each of these possible outcomes in a third throw of the same, in the same coin. All right? So this often throws people off sometimes because for some reason they seem to think that if I've been given a heads in this throw, it means it's less likely to give me a heads in the next throw. Well, no, that's not correct. The only possible way the likelihood could change is if you use an unfair coin. Maybe it's weighted on one side, or it's got two sides that are the same, whatever. But if it's a fair coin, it has two sides that are different, and it's evenly weighted, then theoretically, this is theoretical probability that we're talking about here. Theoretically, it should give you should have the same possible outcome in terms of probability for each of these. Okay, so if I wanted to know what is the probability of getting heads, heads, and heads, so 3 heads in a row, this is how I would do it. I would take this, there's my first heads. Follow the branch, here's the second heads, there's the probability for the second heads. Follow the branch, here's the heads for the third throw, and here's the probability. Okay? So now I just come over here and I write 0.5 times 0.5 times 0.5. Okay? The likelihood, the result, okay, is going to give me my probability of getting 3 heads. Okay? What is my probability of getting tails, heads, and then tails again? Well, I come over here. Here's my first tails in the first throw. Okay? Then I wanted heads. Okay, well, here's heads in my second throw. And here's tails in my third throw, there's my probability. Okay, so it's going to be 0.5 times 0.5 times 0.5. Multiply that out, and that will give you the probability of getting tails, heads, and tails. This answer here, which we'll calculate in a few seconds, tells you the probability of getting that outcome. Okay? Okay, so let's get to the calculation then. We know that 0.5 times 0.5 is 0.25. Okay, so we've done that. So it's 0.25 times 0.5. What's that going to give us? You work that out, pause the video, work it out, and then we'll see if you got the same answer I got. Okay, you should have gotten the answer 0.125. Okay? That means that the probability of getting heads, heads, heads in the first, second, and third throw of the same coin would be 0.125. Okay? The probability of getting tails, heads, tails, well, as we saw already, the probability of getting each one of these is essentially the same as what we had in the first example, so it's also going to be 0.125. All right? So that is the probability of getting this outcome here. All right? I hope you found that useful. Good luck.